Hello everybody. Today we will be making a Dark and Darker bosses tier list. Probably won't take very long just because there's not that many bosses in the game. But now that we have Banshee out, I thought, give you my thoughts on every boss and why I like, dislike them, etc, etc. And yeah. We can start with I think probably we can start with crypts bosses, some of them, and then go to goblin caves, and then we'll just figure it out. Um, okay, I'm gonna start with Ghost King. So, Ghost King, it's like solos. It's just kind of a little bit annoying with the bats. I'm thinking high roller and normals here, but it is soloable, so it's not like it's a bad boss. It's like okay mechanics. Like it's not entirely engaging. Like I think I'm gonna put that B tier for now. Like yeah, like all right, I guess I'm fine to see it. I don't hate it and I don't love it. It's just kind of whatever. It's not very engaging. Lich. I fucking hate this boss. I think it's a terribly designed boss. At least right now, especially where they changed it so the orbs can't run into it. So then it's like, oh, do I clear all the mobs or do I not? And all the archers and stuff, it's very hard to solo. You take any bit of damage, you're just instantly dead. And I just think that even with the high roller variant, it's just like not really that engaging because first of all, I'm never gonna solo it on high roller. That just seems like ass. I mean, I play rogue, so there's also that. So do consider this. Um, but with trios, then it's just like, all right, we clear the ads, and then we just beat the fuck out of him while he's in that, like when he has the circle around him, like a really tight circle, while one mob's in rage is like, okay, yeah, and then he's pretty much trivial from there. There's nothing really special about him, and he's really annoying to do solo, and yeah, for some reason he gives the most AP, like, I think I might put him C tier. He's close to F tier for sure, but there is a boss that I want to place in F tier. So, and since there's limited bosses, I gotta like separate them off a little bit. Next we're gonna go to Cave Troll. Cave Troll I think is very fun to fight and very fun to learn. There's a lot of spots where you can min-max your damage, and it feels clean to beat him. Like it doesn't feel like it feels very engaging. Although it's not very good for other people to join into, so like if you don't purely play solos, it's kind of eh. But I think he's a good boss though. I think it's definitely A tier. Very engaging, very fun to learn. Mechanics like when he screams at you and he does the swipe at you that'll instantly kill you. There's like ways to read it. Like there's counter plays. It's very engaging fight. Usually at higher gear scores, it's pretty much kind of trivial. You just kind of circle around them. But I still think it's fun. It's very basic, but it's very fun. Next, Cyclops. Yeah, Cyclops is not, like, very fun at all. I just feel like I'm just beating the shit out of him the whole time, and it's like, whatever. And, like, now with the rockfall change, too. I think they should have just made it still a timing thing with the rockfall. Because I liked the old version of Cyclops where there weren't shadows on the ground where the rocks were falling. Because it was just a timing game. The only problem with that is that randomly you just get headshot by a boulder and you'd be dead. But now with the little shadows, it just feels like, oh, I gotta look for a sec. All right, now go back to stabbing him in the ass. And yeah, I mean, he's probably on the same level as Ghost King. Maybe a little bit worse. It's just not fun. The only good thing about him, though, is that you can do him with more people, and it's usually fine. Depending on the classes, though, because you have a Warlock hellfiring it, just fucking leave the room, because there's no point, because you can't even get close enough to really do any damage. That is if you're using it like a dagger, like a rogue. Yeah, alright, next, Frost Wyvern. So, initially when I first learned this, I thought this was like a really fun boss to fight, and it was always really exciting. Like, as I've learned it now, it's like kind of like, the cheese method where you just jump over the tail whip and all of that. It's like, it's okay. It's still pretty fun to, like, learn the fight. And I think it's better than Cave Troll for sure. As far as, like, just, like, kind of learning it and dynamic. It's pretty simple once you get it down. and it's a pretty engaging fight. Some people don't like the frost map though, and so they'd probably put it lower just because they have to go on the frost map. But hot take, that's actually my favorite map for some reason. So because I just love fighting the AI there. I don't know though. Crypts is kind of growing on me a little bit, or like the Ruins, Crypts, Inferno, all that. Don't like Inferno, and I don't really like Crypts. I just kind of like Ruins. All right, so that was just like kind of a lie. Whatever. Anyways, Frost Wyvern. Think it's very engaging. Cool mechanics. I wonder what the boss fight would look like if they ever patched out that whole method where you're just in his hitbox stabbing him with the rondelle like people are doing now and jumping over the tail whip, which I had a tutorial on, that same method. I'm very curious to see what the fight would look like. I mean, I'm sure it's just, you know, you trade the headshots in and out and all that, which would make it slower, but maybe more fun. I'm not really sure. But current state of Wyvern, as of, what is this, hotfix 67? I think it's fun. It's similar to like Cave Troll. You just kind of learn it. It's pretty basic after that. I think it's a lot easier than Cave Troll, which I think that's good for the game, is that they balance. They should make the first floor bosses harder than the ones below because of the time investment until they change that. If they do, because I know SDF talked about like a 3-layer system, but yeah, Frost Wyvern, there's mechanics that you can understand and outplay, and it's like if you die to it, it's like, all right, yeah, I guess like that's just kind of how it is. I could have done something better. It doesn't feel totally random. Yeah, I think it's a good boss. I mean, there is like okay, I gotta step back again. There's the dashing mechanic when you're like up and jumping the tailspin. Sometimes he'll just charge dash at you, and you can just like instantly die from that just because of bad RNG. But playing to the side more can help you avoid that, and then sometimes people can crouch duck it, which who knows if that works. But yeah, Frost Wyvern is good, and I'll leave my thoughts there. Next, Warlord. This is the best boss in the game. This hands down the best boss in the game. It is fun to dodge, it is fun to learn the phases, and it is fun to kill. And along with that, it has the highest price for all of its uniques. And if you get a Warlord Broken Blade, that thing is like 27,000 gold. It's insane. And I'm not sure what the Skull Key drop rate chance is on it, but either way, I think it's very awesome. Love this boss so much. And yeah, the first time I soloed it, I was with a duo and he just died right away to the knives, and I was like, ah, fuck it, I'm just gonna like keep going on him. And then I ended up beating him. Even with all of his stacks full. Very trivial in trios. There's a video on my channel about that, it was a cleric, bard, and then me on rogue. Just Allegro and Shriek of Weakness. Just absolutely you just need one person that knows how to dodge it, and that boss is just nothing. It is nothing anymore. Also, you can double jump some of the slashes, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I think that it is the best boss in the game. It is so fun to fight, and I literally get excited every time I see it. Kind of annoying to learn, but if anybody's like trying to learn Warlord, I would suggest you watch a bunch of people's successful fights first before you make the time commitment to go all the way down and try it, because then you have that visual, like you see what it looks like to win the fight, and you see how people are dodging certain moves. And then so like this is my step-by-step process. First, you look up a guide of all of his attacks. Then you just watch, maybe 30 minutes to an hour worth of successful fights of people killing it on your class or other classes, whatever. And then you go down there and you give it a few shots yourself. I mean, you can even go with a team, then you get a res, and then you can try again. I did that a few times, and I think I got it under 10 tries with that method. So, it's still a lot of time investment, but with the current system and the way the dungeon is, you just kind of have to do that. Next, Spectral Knight. Spectral Knight is fun. I think there's some mechanics that people don't know about yet, like the phasing slash and the ways to dodge it, especially without a shield. It can be a little tricky, and it usually just ends up running away, which I don't think is what is intended to be done. It's just to run away from this phasing slash, because that just seems like unintuitive and just kind of boring. I know you can jump crouch it or crouch jump, but it just seems like the timing's a little bit off on that. Additionally, like, if you're wearing a Philidian skin, you can't do this boss because of the horizontal slash. Same with the Warlord, but I just don't wear the skin anymore. I'm always the human skin anyways. But other than that, it's definitely not Ghost King or Cyclops, but I think I like Troll better. So I'm going to put it A tier right below Troll and definitely above Ghost King. Just because it feels more fun to fight, and yeah, it feels like a cave troll-esque, and I think that's kind of what they're going for, with the Spectral Knight feeling like a cave troll and the Banshee feeling like a Cyclops. Now, speaking of Banshee, I think that this boss needs a lot of work. The current state of it right now, so first of all, the first two phases, you know, whatever, they're fine, and you can avoid most of the attacks, and they're like easy to avoid. It's a very easy boss to learn. I mean, people who didn't watch any guides, I've seen, you know, I mean, granted, some people are on Warlock or whatever, so it's just kind of, the game's free for them anyways. But I've seen people who like learn it and can kill it in like under 3 hours, and I'm just like, okay, that's like, the other bosses were taking so much longer than that when they first came out. Some even killed it within the first hour, so, you know, that's just kind of crazy. The only thing is, the last phase, you have to collect 8 of the souls flying around the room to avoid being killed by the third phase scream, and the souls sometimes just fly too high. So you have to run around the room hoping you get up to 8 stacks before you can, like, safely DPS her down, and it fucking sucks. Like, it's so terribly designed that you have to build up these 8 stacks that not only just you have no sound anymore, so you can't avoid some of her attacks and the orbs are harder to dodge, but then you also can't avoid her dash because you can't hear her say you and then charge at you. So you're debuffing yourself so that you can't hear any of the boss's mechanics, and if you don't debuff yourself, you will die in this boss fight. It's not fun right now, and they need to change how that works a little bit, but it's just, I can imagine it being incredibly inconsistent unless you're running like double jump so you can grab all the souls. Like, well, why would I want to do that? Because then I'm slower, and then I can't like avoid successfully as well the other attacks. So, I mean, this boss literally just came out yesterday, but I think it needs like a little bit of fixes before it can even, like, I would even, like, I mean, I've killed it now once just for the quest, but dude, the amount of times I've just, this bad mechanics with that, with the third phase, like, I'm just running around the room. So, like, you know, I dodge it like 100 times in a row, but, you know, you miss 2 dodges and then you're dead, and you have to do that with 0 audio. So you just have to hope that once you get all your 8 stacks, she doesn't do anything that requires a sound cue, which is, you know, everything is a sound cue on her except for the whip attack. So I think that's my tier list on it. Warlord's the best boss in the game. It is so fun. I love it. Very engaging. Very fun to learn. Frost Wyvern right below that with Cave Troll and then Spectral Knight. Very fun bosses to solo, and they feel very engaging in their combat. And then Ghost King and Cyclops is just kind of like the ones you just kind of beat down. Lich is just like really annoying. It's just not fun at all. And then Banshee, I just think it needs work before I would even like want. I'm never gonna attempt it again just because of this current state of it. But yeah, that is my Dark and Darker bosses tier list. If you think I got something totally wrong, you know, make sure you flame me in the comments and tell me how stupid I am, and tell me that I've never played the game before or whatever. But I am interested to hear like why you might like certain bosses, because I mean, I could be forgetting about like a certain piece of their mechanics that makes it fun. I mean, I've fought like all of these bosses within the last week, so I'm relatively fresh on it, but I do want to hear your guys' opinions, like where you would place yours. I mean, even drop your tier list in the comments. I don't know if you can link it, but just like put it in a text version, but I don't know what YouTube will do to ban that. But yeah, so thank you very, very much for watching, and yeah, let me know.